All right, gonna do a quick meditation and then we're gonna talk. Good morning, everyone. So today we're talking about the heart chakra, and we're talking about how someone asked a really interesting question, and they were like, how can we care about what's going on in the world but not let it consume us completely? So that's the question we're going to be exploring while also just tapping into the heart chakra, tapping into balance, into what it means to move and live in the world from the heart space. So I'm going to shuffle some tarot cards and we'll get started. Tarot cards. Gonna shuffle some tarot. And the card flies out. Spirit, my Holy Spirit, I ask you to guide this reading and help. How can we move forward, hearing about everything going on in the world while also not letting it turn this completely. Alright, shuffle a few more times here. Too many cards. Alright. Alright, what's this card? No way. The Chariot again? We got this card last time. You guys seen that, right? This thing came out on its own. Did I not shuffle my cards well? Did I pick that one? I picked a new one. The Chariot again? Alright, I'll pick one more card. That's wild already. Bruh, we already talked about the Chariot. What are the odds, though, that I would get that card again? Alright, what's the top card that came out? What? Yo, it's so weird how, like, tarot cards, they will, like, haunt you, dude. They will haunt you, because both of these cards that I have either recently picked or I've been meaning to discuss. The one here on the right, I'm actually planning to like recreate and draw it. I'm planning to recreate that one on the right. All right, cool. Two of Swords and the Chariot. It's interesting that these two cards came out together because one is the Two of Swords is when you aren't sure like what decision you should make, right? Like a person is wanting to rely on their intuition while the Chariot knows exactly what decision they should make and they move forward confidently, benefiting everyone potentially. This artwork that I created, the watercolor painting, represents all the chakras coming together because the heart chakra is the balancer. You know, it's when you literally think about the levels of how chakras, the chakra layer system, you're starting from the lower chakras, you know, like the root chakra, sacral, solar, and then you hit the heart chakra. And the heart chakra is where it's like the turning point because it's that last stage before you can get to, you know, the throat chakra, the third eye chakra, the crown chakra. So it's like you have to go through the gate. It's the balancer and the gate to your higher self. And so it pretty much is like the balancer of all chakras together. And that's what I really like about the art piece. The art piece feels very like almost chaotic but cohesive in a way. So if you're wanting to exist in this world and, you know, not be completely removed from things that are going on in the current events, like these cards are saying here, it's like how can we find the balance between I feel like we could draw inspiration from both sides because, you know, maybe even though this person seems to be blindfolded, even though they're blindfolded like that, it's like I feel like if you can see in the corner there, they have a waxing moon, which is also, we also have a waxing moon right now. And they seem to be like in a meditative area. The swords seem more like a defense, like they aren't sure what decision to make, but they're like, regardless, I want to be defended. Regardless, I'm going to defend myself in trying to make this decision. And yeah, it just requires for us to close our eyes like that to close our two physical eyes and look within and feel the heart spaces, you can see like their arms are crossed over the heart. Like it's like an alchemy happened here because the two swords became the two sphinx characters. That's what's so interesting about tarot cards. You pick a couple or three of them, and then you'll notice how it's like they are connected to each other, or they have similar characteristics and symbols. And so yeah, maybe the first part is learning how to sit in silence and just feel what the heart wants to say, how the heart wants to influence and impact other people. And then you can move forward with confidence and conviction. And the thing too is like the heart has the strongest frequency of the human body. Like it has an electromagnetic pulse that can be measured and felt. And then it can also like connect with other hearts around it. So when you're tapping into your own heart space, you're also allowing yourself to connect with other people, and that's something that's naturally felt. You're naturally amplifying the power of your heart, of your electromagnetic frequency, and that will be your guide. That will be what helps you understand what's going on in the media, what reminds you that whatever stories we see or hear, it's not the finale, right? It's like a part of the timeline of where we're headed in the greater scheme of existence. And I'm seeing a lot of self-love here, really. I'm seeing two people who are alone, two individuals who, it's like an introspective phase where they aren't sure really, but they're looking for the answer inside, and then the extra extroverted phase where this person's like, all right, bet I know what to do now. Let's go. Like I'm in my chariot. I know where to go. I know how to interpret these things I'm seeing and hearing. Because I think what happens with when we're in the matrix, like when the election happened, I kind of got caught up in it too for a minute, and I was really like, I feel like I was feeling devastated because that's what sort of was expected for us to feel in a way, if that makes sense. Like yeah, part of me was like worried because I'm like, okay, what does this mean for X, Y, and Z? But then also just like wrapped up I was so wrapped up in this narrative of like, oh my God, like a drama, almost is like drama can be addicting. And that's what the media is. That's why we like to see and hear, unfortunately, about these horrendous things happening in the world. Why people can't turn off the news, why we like to watch crime stories, because it's drama. It's like, oh my God, what happened then? And we all have a capacity to be wrapped up in that and to be caught in that. But it's like at some point there has to be an intermission. We have to reel it back in, like, okay, this is just a drama. And also, I have my own occurrences, and, I have my own little world that I am the ruler of. I'm in charge of my own world. As you can see, the chariot person, it's like they're giving ruler, like they're giving king or queen, like. And it's like, again, going back to this idea of like centeredness and tapping into the balance of the middle way. And that's also an important term, the middle way. They talk about it in I believe in Buddhism too, and like meditation, where your goal is to be in the middle, where you're not on the extremes. Like, so it's like, okay, I know what's going on. I see these things that are talked about, and there's all this fear of like what could happen, but there's also the possibilities, and it's like, I think that's what's important for us to remember, like regardless of everything that's being talked about and being told to us, like the future is still unraveling, and we're all like feeding it with our electromagnetic pulse, like with our heart and with our thoughts. And so it's like if you're taking in information of the news and what's happening, you can use that as information, but then also be like, okay, well, that's not the result I want by next year. So I want to just start dreaming and kind of like it's like we want to start envisioning the result that we want to see. And the like both of these people, it's so interesting that even the person who's sitting with their blindfold, like I feel like they're still empowered even though they're blindfolded. Like you think someone's gonna come up to them like with two swords in their hand? Like yeah, they crazy, like you could try it, but they could swing that sword around and defend themselves still. And it's also interesting too when you think about like the media and everything. It's like that person's not watching the media. It's like we have to, that's the other thing about the balance part of it, is like knowing when to disconnect and to recalibrate and come back to self, come back to the heart space and like, okay, at the end of the day, I'm still an individual. I'm a part of the story, but I'm also still an individual. And the more that I can tap into my own expansion and my own centeredness, my own growth, my own ideals and introspection, the more that I can go out in my chariot out into the world and have decisive action. Yeah, so it's like I feel like that was the main theme and like the main point of what the cards are wanting to express. So I don't want to make the video too long, but yeah, that's how that's how we can just move forward, it's like finding expression and meaning in the chaos. Like the painting behind it is showing like it's chaos, but it's also working. It's also like sorting through the chaos, but the chaos is it has some really cool movement. It adds character, it adds meaning to our experience. So we could also just interpret the things that we're seeing as art itself, which is like I know it's like a weird way to see it, but it's a drama. It really is like anything that we're experiencing in these physical bodies. It's a drama. And it's also important to like to remember that karma is something that is always going to be in play. We don't know why certain things might happen from the outside looking in, be like, oh my god, that's horrible. But like I have a belief that our soul, like which is basically our frequency, is eternal, it's ancient, and we are constantly interacting with other forms of God as different people. So yeah, so self-love first, and then that self-love is naturally going to radiate into the world. It's like be the change we want to see, like regardless of what stories they want to tell us. Like if I feel like I'm centered within myself, then I'm going to be way more confident to be in that chariot and go out in the world and know how to respond to anything. All right, I don't want to make the video too long. I just wanted to make sure I touched on all the points. You guys have an amazing Monday.